Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Takehiro Tomiyasu might be out for the rest of the season. Speaking on the Gooner Talk YouTube channel, Football London's Tom Canton has shared an update on Takehiro Tomiyasu's injury. The fantastic defender picked up an injury against Sporting in midweek in the Europa League, and after the game he was spotted leaving the stadium on crutches. Sadly, it sounds as though Tomiyasu's injury is bad as it looked, with Canton claiming that there are now whispers going around that the Japan international will be out until the end of the season. Canton shared what he knows about the defender. He said, "We did suffer some frustrating injuries. Tomiyasu could be out for the rest of the season. It's my understanding on that, which is a really frustrating one. They are still awaiting the final assessment of that, but there are whispers that the assessment of his knee is not great. Maybe the scan will reveal that it's not as bad as many fear it will be." Tomiyasu's injury isn't a game changer for Arsenal, at least not yet anyway. The fullback isn't the Gunners' first choice, but he did provide brilliant depth at both right back and at centre back. Luckily, Ben White is still fit and will hopefully be able to play in every game until the end of the season. But if he does pick up an injury ahead of the run in, Arsenal could well end up suffering at right back. We can't help but wonder if Mikel Arteta is regretting letting Cedric Soares go out on loan at this point, because he is barely getting a game at Fulham and he would have provided some decent depth at right back. Fingers crossed Tomiyasu can recover and come back stronger. Journalist shares what he saw William Saliba doing after his injury on Thursday. Speaking on the Gooner Talk YouTube channel, Tom Canton has been discussing William Saliba after he picked up an injury against Sporting on Thursday. Saliba was substituted against the Portuguese side in the first half after an injury, but as of yet, we have not really had any updates on what this injury is. Canton was at the game covering the match for Football London, and he noticed something interesting about Saliba after he was injured. Canton noted that Saliba was walking just fine after the game, but interestingly, he noted that the Frenchman appeared to be pointing at his back after being subbed off, suggesting that he picked up a back problem during the game. Canton shared what he saw Saliba doing. He said, "William Saliba is potentially out for a little bit as well. We don't know. I saw him after the game in the mixed zone and he walked fine. It didn't look like he was." Tomiyasu came out on crutches compared to Saliba, and Arteta only described it as discomfort. It did look like he was pointing to his back when he left the field, which, if it's just discomfort, you have to hope that it's not too bad of an issue. The fact that this is a back problem is almost slightly encouraging for Arsenal. Yes, it's a pain for Saliba to go through, but unlike any hamstring or ankle issue, a back problem can be managed quite easily via painkillers and injections. Fingers crossed, Saliba is back fit and ready to play for the Gunners again soon, because Arsenal will definitely need him to be back to his best if they are going to pip Manchester City to the Premier League title. Arsenal need to manage this issue wisely. Mikel Arteta set to start Gabriel Jesus versus Crystal Palace on Sunday. According to The Telegraph, Gabriel Jesus is in line to start for Arsenal against Crystal Palace on Sunday. Jesus has been out injured for the past 3 months, but now he is set to return to the Gunners' starting lineup in the Premier League for the first time in 128 days. Jesus came off the bench against Fulham last week before playing 45 minutes against Sporting in the Europa League on Thursday. Arsenal have missed Jesus during his absence, but the likes of Leandro Trossard and Edin Ketia have filled in admirably. Jesus will now have a chance to show Mikel Arteta what he's been missing, and this is a great chance for him to hit the ground running upon his return to the starting 11. Indeed, Jesus has to fancy his chances of doing the business against Palace this weekend. The Eagles are without a manager after sacking Patrick Vieira, and they have not won a game in 2023 so far. They are coming up against a wounded Arsenal side on Sunday, and Jesus will be desperate to get his name on the score sheet for sure. With Palace playing so poorly at the moment, Jesus will get plenty of chances against Arsenal's London rivals, and he could well return to form in wonderful fashion this weekend. Of course, Arsenal do need to be wary of the potential new manager bounce for Palace. A change in the dugout can often inspire a team to find some semblance of form, and Arsenal know that only too well after losing to Everton in Dyche's first game as Toffee's boss. However, Arsenal will be hoping that the returning striker bounce can counteract any new manager bounce that Palace may enjoy this weekend as a Jesus return to the starting 11. Arteta and Arsenal are very aware of Balogun's incredible form on loan. Arsenal sent Folarin Balogun out on loan last summer, and he has become a star for Stade Reims in France this season. The 21-year-old has been one of the Gunners' brightest prospects for years. He was always prolific at youth level, but his difficult loan spell at Middlesbrough in the second half of last season made many people forget that. Now, everyone knows what Balogun is capable of after watching him at Reims. There were a few eyebrows raised when Arsenal launched Balogun out to Reims in France instead of a club here in England. However, after watching William Saliba develop in League One last season, the Gunners decided it would be a good place for the young striker. They have been proven right. Balogun has scored 16 goals in League One so far this season. That's more than Lionel Messi and Neymar, which is an unbelievable statistic on its own. Arsenal fans have been really excited about Balogun for a while now, and journalist Simon Collins has revealed that Arteta and everyone at the club are very aware of what he's doing. He told Give Me Sport, "I think it will be something that Arsenal will sit down in the summer and decide. The debate will be whether you want to have three centre forwards in the squad, which they are going to have with Jesus, Nketiah and Balogun. That level of depth in the Champions League could be beneficial, but Balogun himself might want to go and start playing first-team football every week. I think he can play anywhere across that forward line, which again helps, but I think that will be one for the summer, where all parties sit down and decide what they want to do. Arsenal are very aware of what he is doing in France, and it hasn't gone unnoticed at the club. It will be very difficult for Mikel Arteta to fit Balogun in his side, but we are sure he will be given an opportunity in pre-season, unlike what happened last year in the United States. The Arsenal boss has Gabriel Jesus, Leandro Trossard and Edin Nketiah available up top, while Gabriel Martinelli can also play there. That leaves little space for Balogun, but after a campaign as good as this one, it would be unfair to not even give him a chance to show his quality in pre-season. Journalist makes new Moussa Diaby claim as Arsenal and Newcastle continue to monitor. Arsenal are once again being linked with a move for Bayer Leverkusen star Moussa Diaby ahead of the summer window. Reports in recent weeks have kept dropping Arsenal's name into the hat when it comes to Diaby. The Frenchman has had another excellent season with Leverkusen, scoring 12 goals and assisting 7 already. However, that form has seen clubs come knocking, with Arsenal and Newcastle among them, and according to Cout Offside's Jonathan Johnson, Arsenal being in the mix is no surprise, with the Gunners set to be involved in the mix when the next window opens. Johnson wrote, "It doesn't surprise me to see clubs like Arsenal and Newcastle linked with him. He is more than just a very speedy player. He's got a lot of versatility on that left-hand side, and I personally think he is most well suited to playing in a more attacking role, but he is also done well as a wing-back." Diaby has previously been given price tags of around £50 million. However, this latest report from Johnson suggests waters will be tested from the £26 million mark onwards. Predominantly known for being more attacking, Johnson's comments on Diaby being able to play wing-back make interesting reading. Arsenal currently play with a 4 at the back, but in the ever-evolving world of football, Mikel Arteta would love to have even more options. The idea of using Diaby in a forward-thinking role while having the option to change systems and use him as a wing-back will intrigue Arteta. In terms of the attributes he has, Diaby has a lot to offer for the Gunners: pace in abundance, goals, assists, and at just 23, the right age for Arteta to work closely with. If he is going to be available around that £30 million price point, then it might be a deal Arsenal find too good to turn down. Arsenal have largely got it right in recent transfer window. Adding a player like Diaby, on paper anyway, appears a step in the right direction. Christian Falk confirms Dortmund putting pressure on Julian Brandt amid Arsenal and Tottenham interest. Julian Brandt could be the subject of a potential bidding war at Borussia Dortmund, with Christian Falk exclusively revealing to Out of Side that Dortmund are aware of interest in the player from both Tottenham and Arsenal. Ahead of a potential exit from star prodigy Jude Bellingham this summer, BVB will be hoping to avoid a summer of significant change within their ranks and have preemptively began putting pressure on the 26-year-old. The German journalist wrote, "It's a pity that Julian Brandt is injured at the moment because he's been playing very well for Borussia Dortmund, and now the national games have arrived. Of course, Dortmund heard about interest from the Premier League, especially Arsenal and Tottenham, we heard, and that's why they have been putting pressure on the player. They want to have talks with him and his father to work out a new contract. So you see, Dortmund are getting nervous because they know in his head the possibility of a Premier League move is being considered. Now they are pushing to get him signed up on a new contract. But Arsenal and Tottenham would be interesting for Julian. The German international has enjoyed one of his best seasons in the black and yellow shirt, amassing a collection of 14 goal contributions in 32 games across all competitions. Arsenal genuinely think they could end up signing Declan Rice. Speaking to Give Me Sport, Benny Jacobs has been discussing Arsenal and their interest in Declan Rice. The Times reported a few months ago that Rice is in fact the Gunners' top transfer target heading into the summer transfer window, and with West Ham on the brink of relegation, it looks like the midfielder's exit could be sanctioned soon. Jacobs did indeed say that Rice is a priority for Arsenal, and interestingly, he noted that the North London club are confident of winning the race for his signature. Jacobs shared what he knows about Rice. He said, "We know that Rice is going to be one priority for Arsenal, and even at the lower end of estimations, he is going to cost around £75 million. David Moyes has said on record that he believes that Rice should cost equivalent to Enzo Fernandez's British record transfer fee. So Arsenal are prepared to enter that type of race, and they are confident of winning it as well. If Arsenal do manage to sign Rice from West Ham, it would certainly be a statement of intent from the Gunners. It will show that, unlike during the Arsene Wenger era, this isn't a team that is going to rest on their laurels after a Premier League title challenge. Arsenal are looking to add from a position of strength, and that should be seen as a scary prospect for the rest of the league, as this young side will only get better with each passing year. Keep an eye on this one, as Arsenal seem to think they have a real chance of landing Rice." Romano says Osimhen keeps saying he wants to move to England. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Fabrizio Romano has shared an update on Victor Osimhen's future amid a number of links to Arsenal. The Gunners have been strongly linked with a move for the Nigerian striker, with reports earlier this month stating that Arsenal are leading the race for his signature. Arsenal's chances of landing Osimhen have just been given a huge boost by Romano too. The Italian says that the striker is dreaming of a move to the Premier League in the near future, stating that Osimhen is saying in private that he wants to move to England. Romano shared what he knows about Osimhen. He said, "It's important to mention Victor Osimhen. He is doing incredible in the Champions League. Many of you ask about his future, mentioning Bayern and some other possibilities. Many clubs appreciate this player, but Osimhen's dream is to play in the Premier League. This is guaranteed. It's what he is stated in public, but it's also in private. The player dreams of Premier League move. He has already played in Bundesliga, League One, and Serie A. For sure, English clubs are tracking him, such as Manchester United and Chelsea. This is one of the biggest opportunities on the transfer market right now. Osimhen is a truly world-class striker, and whoever signs him this summer will be getting a superstar in the making. Arsenal are said to be leading the race, but with Manchester United and Chelsea in more desperate need of a striker, perhaps one of those two clubs could pip the Gunners to this transfer. This is certainly a situation to keep an eye on, as it looks like Osimhen could be coming to England in the very near future. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news show, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.